Guys, I first of all, I'm sorry I was late. Um, things happened, things came up. I had some things I had to take care of. I was bummed that I couldn't get on here and give my thoughts as this was all unraveling. But priorities are priorities. Family and God come first. I'm not just saying that because we lost, obviously, but that's my priorities. It's God, family, then other things. So I had some things I had to take care of. Bottom line was, didn't miss much. I watched, the game. It just couldn't be on here to cover it while it was happening. Got on here, and the first thing I do is laugh. Well, that's all you can really do. It was bad. We're going to talk about it all. I'm going to get into it. I'm just getting back into the house and settling down, so bear with me as I go. I really honestly don't know where to start here. Just not sure where to start. I know. I'll start with my little delicious bloom. Goodness gracious, what a horrible game. This is probably one of the worst football games I have ever watched as a whole for our team. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people losing their minds all over the internet, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. I'm not going to lose my mind. It's just not how I roll. This was a horrible, horrible loss for the Miami Dolphins. I know it was week 1, but if you remember in the live streams coming up to this, I said this was a must-win for Miami, and it was. This was not how the season should have started. This was a failure, complete and utter failure on nearly every aspect of a football game for the Miami Dolphins. There was a couple bright spots. It wasn't happening. There was nothing working for the Miami Dolphins in this game. We'll get into some people that kind of should take a lot of the blame for this game and some people that probably shouldn't. Number one, I just want to start out with saying this. The Indianapolis Colts scored on every single possession they had in this game. Every single possession. There was not a possession where they didn't score points. That's unacceptable, largely unacceptable for the Miami Dolphins to put forth an effort like that on defense. There is no excuse for it. It wasn't the play calling on defense that caused this. This was just crappy play. Like I said, I haven't gotten into the stats yet. I got them pulled up, and we'll get into those in a second. But the Miami Dolphins lost this game 33-8. 33-8, and the Colts put up points on every possession of the offense they had. That is unacceptable in nearly every aspect of the game. From what I know, Storm Duck left early. He got hurt. And some people were wanting to blame him for that first touchdown pass. I don't care who you are, what you say. If you watch that play, you can see clearly that Storm Duck had the under on that pass, on that flat area. And he took the under like he was supposed to, assuming that Ife Melifonwu would have come over from the safety position to cover the over. And that's what he was supposed to do. He did not do that. If he went the other way, he drifted towards the middle of the field instead of drifting right on the deep runner. And that is why that first touchdown pass happened. So I'm really tired of seeing that, seeing people talk about Storm Duck saying that was his fault. I mean, yeah, he could have noticed that if he wasn't coming over and tried to recover, but there was no recovering from that. He was already well beyond where he was supposed to be. If he had totally abandoned that position where he was supposed to be covering. And people are saying, well, how do you know that if he was supposed to drift to the outside to cover the over on that play? Well, there's the main reason is that as soon as if he started drifting towards the middle of the field, there was already the other safety sitting right there. If he was out of position and he didn't drift towards the outside like he should have on that play, that's why that happened. So just to get that out of the way, let's move on. Holy cow. It was horrible. Like I said, every single possession they scored. Yep, it was embarrassing, Aqua. It was horrible. This is, like I said, as a whole, with everybody that was on the team and as a team, this was unacceptable in every aspect of the game. Yep, here we go. 4 turnovers. That's 2 interceptions, 1 fumble, and a turnover on downs. And I do too. I agree with that. That is 4 turnovers, not just 3. The turnover on downs definitely counts as a turnover in this situation. Tua's at midseason form. Tua should have been benched at halftime. Like I said, I am not a Tua-neer. I'm not a Tua hater either, but I will admit in this game, Tua was trash. He played like trash. Did not have anything going for him at all. Could not get it going. Kept the thing that just pissed me off the most about what Tua was doing in this game was the fumble. That was the worst for me. That was just that really, really upset me. It was hard to watch that. That was just careless football play on his behalf, carrying it around like a loaf of bread. That was unacceptable. Obviously, the 2 interceptions were too. You can't have these things happen. The first interception was clearly just a horrible pass on Tua. The second one as well. These aren't the ones where you can look at and say, well, it wasn't Tua's fault. It was somewhat Tua's fault, but not really, because this, that, and the other thing. No. This was Tua's fault. Tua's fault. Not the whole game being lost, but a large portion of it. This falls on Tua. And for those of us that are blind Tua fans, which are just as bad as the ones that are Tua trash fans, we have to be objective. And this was a horrible game by Tua. Not what you can have. Not what you need. So Tua was trash. It was very bad by him. He was 14 of 23. That's roughly 50% passing, 56%, 55, I think, like something like that. Unacceptable. We all know that Tua can do better than that. That was not acceptable. 114 yards, just as bad. 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions on the stats chart for him, but also he had the fumble and wasn't doing anything to help his team move down the field. It was bad. Yeah. There was a couple injuries in this game. We'll get into all that here in a second. Devon Achane, 7 carries for 55 yards. I don't put this game on Devon. I think he did all right. Bradley Chubb had the 1 sack for our team in this game. Should have been more sacks. It was just, like I said, all around, just not a good game for Miami. They played horribly, and the score shows. Tua was super rusty looking, missing throws you usually make, just not good today. That's the bottom line, exactly. And we need to be objective about it. And that's, I told you guys, I'm not all Tua love and everything. Like I said, he has a bad game. I'm going to call it out. This was a horrible game for him. Colts kicker scored more than the Dolphins offense. You bet. And like I said, there wasn't a possession where the Colts offense didn't put up points. They put up points on every possession. It's a great game by the Colts. They played well. They were prepared. They played well. There's just no way around that. Those of you after this game, after this horrible game, that are coming in here, thank you. Thank you for coming in here and listening after a game like that, because a lot of people are going to be tuned out, and I understand completely. I kind of feel like I want to tune out too after a game like that. I need a little bit of time to recover from that, but here I am, and I'm going to talk about it because I feel like I need to. So thank you for coming in here. Those of you that are here, make sure you throw a like down and subscribe if you're new. And if you feel like donating to the channel, go for that. Don't worry. I don't expect it. You don't have to. I'm not going to. There we go. If you guys hear me, make sure you let me know. I had a little bit of a difficulty there. If you feel like donating and you feel like that, whatever, you can. That's great. I appreciate it, but don't feel like you have to. Show's not over, Raph. I've just had some technical difficulties there. But make sure you throw a like down. That's the big thing. That's way more important than anything else. Hey man, I'm doing okay. Like I said, I'm not the football is everything to me type of guy. I still have a beautiful home, beautiful family, a wonderful job, Great life. I'm okay. I hope everybody else is too. Don't let this ruin your Sunday. There's still a lot of good football to watch. The other teams in the AFC East lost as well. So, I mean, this could have been a lot worse. Situationally, it's not as bad as we all would have thought. However, this was a horrible game by the Dolphins. A couple, like I said, Bradley Chubb did have the sack, one sack for the Dolphins, one sack. Now, like I said, we were playing against a very, very good offensive line, probably one of the best in the NFL. So, top 5 for sure. And like I said, first game, it's going to take some. They're going to get back into this. This is always kind of the Dolphins' MO. So let's just relax. There's no sense overreacting, even though there's plenty to overreact about. Now, this is our first chance for some evaluations, and we have those, and we're going to be talking about those this week. I don't go hunting until Wednesday, so as the time comes up closer to Wednesday, I'll have at least 1 or 2 more live streams where we'll talk about some more stuff. Jordan Brooks had 14 tackles. He played a solid game. Like I said, you need more than 1 or 2 players on defense to put together a solid effort, though. As unfortunate as that is, that's what happened. We needed more effort, and we didn't get it. Daniel Jones looked like an all-star out there. 272 yards, 22 of 29, and 1 touchdown. Like I said, this was one of those games where it just didn't work out like it should. Tyreek Hill, 4 catches for 40 yards. He had a decent game. But when Tua was throwing and playing like he was playing, I'm shocked that Tyreek had 40 yards. Let's look at some of this stuff here. Talked about Tua. Zach Wilson was 5 of 8 for 32 yards. It is what it is. I said Devon Achane, 7 carries for 55. Ollie Gordon only had 2 carries. I mean, just kind of one of those things. Devon Achane had the 1 touchdown reception. He had 3 catches for 20 yards. Waddle had 4 catches for 30 yards. Like I said, it was very pedestrian, but once again, we had a quarterback who was playing garbage. And because of that, the offense suffered, guys. Like I said, one of the main culprits for this game, you've got to put a lot of the responsibility on Tua in this game. And like I said, I'm not a hater. I'm not a Tua lover. I'm neither. I'm in the middle of the road. I have a very, very open evaluation of Tua until week 4 and the rest of the team as well. So looking at this game, Tua was trash. He played horrible. Does that mean he's a trash quarterback? No. Does that mean he's a great quarterback? Absolutely not. But he didn't play good this week. If it goes the same way as it did this week for the Dolphins, yes, he is going to look like Tom Brady for sure. But we'll see. We'll see what happens this week now that we have some information here. We talked about the receiving. There was the 1 fumble that was on Tua. That was the only fumble for the game. Amazing. Tyrell Dodson also had 13 tackles, so 27 tackles between our 2 middle linebackers. I think that's a fantastic game for them. And like I said, our middle linebackers are one of the strong points on this team. So to see that, not surprised. Minka Fitzpatrick had 9 tackles. Jack Jones had 8. Good games by those guys. Storm Duck had 2 tackles, 1 pass defended, and it was a great pass defended. He played solid coverage on that 1 pass there. Then he got hurt and he was out, so can't really expect too much there. Michael Pittman, 6 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. That's unacceptable. Tyler Warren, 7 catches for 76 yards. I knew they were going to do some things with Tyler Warren. I wasn't quite expecting 75 yards. I was hoping we would have contained him a little more than that. But it is what it is. Jonathan Taylor also 18 carries for 71 yards rushing. DJ Giddens, 12 carries for 41 yards. They ran the ball a lot. And then that's, like I said, the Colts played a solid game. We didn't. They won the game. 33-8. They deserved it. We deserved to lose that game. The Dan Irsay effect, or the Irsay effect, seemed to have more, be more palpable than I originally thought. Yeah, I saw that. Yep, I saw that. I'm hoping the Dolphins get back into normal form. Can't have the Dolphins lose to the Pats and lose a bet. Yeah, I don't. I would be shocked if we saw the same output next week as we saw this week. I really would. However, this is a situation where, and really try to hear me when I say this. Right now, it's week 1. The Dolphins lost badly to a team that we don't know if they're great, good, or bad, or what. I do think the Colts are a decent team. I even said that before this game. I don't know how good they are. I don't know how bad they are, but I do think the Colts are a decent team. They have a lot of really strong positions on that team as well. For all we know, it could have been us losing to a very, one of the best teams in the NFL. We don't know yet. I'm not saying they're the best, so don't get at me for that. But it's week 1. We lost a game badly. That's where we're at. We had really bad quarterback play in this first game of the season. Yes, we absolutely did. You'd be a fool to say anything else. And I would say I would put 75% of this loss on the quarterback in this game. Me personally, that's where I would put it. The rest of the blame I'm putting on the defense. You cannot go through a game and allow a team to score on every possession. I don't care if you're on the field for 75% of the game like the Dolphins defense was. I don't care. You can't allow that to happen. Got to do something to get the ball back. So it was a rough game to watch, guys. Real hard. And I'm sorry to each and every one of you who are Dolphins fans, hoping to see something better than what we saw. I am one of them. I was very disappointed. At one point, I looked at my wife and I said, "Hey," and she leans over and she goes, "What?" And I was like, "Dolphins are losing 23-0 right now." And I laughed and she laughed, and that was it. It was not good. Yep, there it is right there. The defense was on the field more than the offense. You're never going to win that way. And it wasn't even as close. It was a big disparity, and that's the problem. You can't have that happen. D-line was probably my biggest disappointment today. I expected way more from them. I was hoping for more, but once again, going up against probably the number 2 and number 3 offensive line in the NFL, very healthy number 2 or number 3 offensive line. I was prepared for not a lot of stat lines coming up from our defensive line today. Hopefully something changes and they start figuring stuff out. Like I said, I do not expect to see this same effort next week. I think this is going to end up when we look at the season. I still believe that this is probably going to be an outlier of a game, even though it was the first game of the season. However, from being at a point where this is all we have to evaluate off of right now, looking at our team from the performance they had, yep, Chubb was the only player that had a sack for the Dolphins in this game. But right now, looking at this team and evaluating it as is such right now, we are the second worst team in the NFL. I would put only one team below us at this moment, and that would be Carolina. That's it. Everybody else, I would say, is better than us. If this is all I have to evaluate off of, that's where I'm standing. Second worst team in the NFL. You can only go up from here. All right. So let me get into this. Let's see here. First downs. Miami had 12 first downs. The Colts had 27. Third down efficiency, the Colts were 7 of 15. Miami was 5 of 10. So 50% on third down. Fourth down, they were 50% as well, 1 and 2. Total plays on offense, 46 for Miami, 70 plays for the Colts. Total yards, Miami Dolphins 211, the Indianapolis Colts 418. With the amount of yards and points allowed by this Miami Dolphins defense, we are going to end up being probably the worst defense in the NFL going into week 2. Like I said, this was a bad game. Expect the stats to show just as bad as we're expecting. Each team had 7 drives. Every drive for the Colts resulted in points. Only one resulted in points for the Dolphins. Yards per play, 4.6 for Miami, 6.0 for the Colts. 262 yards passing for the Colts and 133 for Miami. We had 2 interceptions thrown, both by Tua. Bad game. We'll see. And like I said, like Raph, this is first game of the season. And that's just me personally. I would put us as the second worst team as a whole. And you could very easily say third worst and put the Giants there too, for sure. You're probably right about that. So I'll agree with you there. You're probably right. I'll correct my statement to third worst team in the NFL. You win, Raph. You win. Like I said, I'm not going to overreact, but I will say that this was a horrible game by Miami. You know, that's where we're at. Miami was sacked 3 times for a loss of 13 yards. Indianapolis was sacked once, and that was the Bradley Chubb sack for 10-yard loss. 156 yards rushing for the Colts, 78 for the Dolphins. Penalties. The Dolphins did win the penalty game. The Colts had 4 penalties for 45 yards, and the Dolphins had 3 for 15. So a relatively clean game by both teams, actually. It really wasn't that bad as far as penalties go. They played pretty clean, both of them. The big thing, 3 turnovers for Miami, 0 for the Dolphins, or 0 for the Colts. And actually that 3 could be put to 4 because they had a turnover on downs that it just frustrated me. So officially 3 turnovers to the 0 for Indianapolis. The possession. This is the thing that tells me if I had no other stats, ladies and gentlemen, if I just had Cap, what's up, dude? Glad you're here. Thanks for stopping in, man. I always feel like an all-star when you come in and say, hey, thanks for stopping, brother. And it is bad. This is bad. But here's the thing. I'm not going to overreact. And I know a lot of people are. I'll let them do that. What I'm looking at now is a very, very bad game. Now we have a chance to evaluate what are they going to do. Are they going to come out and have another bad game, or are they going to play better? That's the question. Can they? Will they? Won't they? I don't know. But I know what they should do. They should look at this and say, this ain't happening again. So that's where I'm at with it. The possession thing, though, if I had no other stats, ladies and gentlemen, if I looked at the screen and it had nothing for stats, no score, anything, if all I had was possession, I would tell you who won this game. The time of possession for the Miami Dolphins, 21 minutes and 17 seconds. 21-17. Time of possession for the Indianapolis Colts, 38 minutes, 43 seconds. If you looked at that one stat and nothing else, that is going to be a victory for the team that had 38 minutes, almost 39 minutes of possession every single time. 39 minutes to 21. That's a loss for the Miami Dolphins. If that's the only stat I see, I'm telling you exactly what happened in this game, and that's what happened in this game. We lost because we could not do anything on offense. Yes, we gave up 33 points, but I guarantee you if the Dolphins had more possession, the defense wouldn't have been on the field as much, and this would not look this way. The Colts wouldn't have 33 points. This game is on our offense. This is an inability to score points, and it shows with every stat line. It's okay. It's okay. It's not a sponsorship plug or anything, but those of you that need some caffeine but can't stand all the calories, all the sugars, all the fake stuff they put in drinks nowadays, try these things. They're pretty good. Bloom, I'm all about it, man. Abel, it's okay, buddy. Thanks for coming in, guys. Abel and Jorge, thank you, guys. Jorge, I saw you were on your stream. I watched a little bit of it, but I had to go get online, so I had to bounce. But yeah, how you guys doing? Are you guys able? Are you okay? I'm talking about it. If you guys missed the beginning, go check out the beginning of this one too, because it kind of set the stage for how I'm feeling. I'm not. I'm like I said, I'm not a doom and gloom guy. So No, I haven't, but I'll look into it. Definitely. Thanks, brother. I kind of like the natural stuff. I don't really like all the extra crap and all the weird crap in the ingredients. I like it natural, so I'll definitely look into that. Thanks, man. Don't do it. Don't do it, dude. I don't know. Like I said, it's not the end of the world. It's a football game, guys. So keep it real. Like I said, I've been pretty honest about my evaluation so far. This is all I have to evaluate off of. um, you guys are gonna get me banned from YouTube. Like I said, this could be it could be worse. It really could. But what I'm looking at here, I'm looking at a team that definitely needs to figure some stuff out. And like I said, this is evaluation 1. Tua looked like trash. He played horribly. There are some things that happened in the NFL today that kind of made it to where it's not as big of a deal as it would have been, mainly because New York and New England lost. We still have to watch the Buffalo game later. This was a rough week for the AFC East so far. And week 1, we lost. We lost bad. We lost bad, guys. But it could be worse. And once I watched a little more, replay a little more of the game and watch a little more of it over, I got to watch it a few times before I can really, really absorb what happened. But basic observations. Just the offense was on the field too little, and the defense was out there way too much. Tua played like trash, and because of that, our defense suffered. That's why I said 75% of this game I'm putting on Tua's shoulders. He played like garbage. Anytime a quarterback is responsible for 3 turnovers, two interceptions, and 1 really stupid fumble, you got to understand that things like that happen, and you're not going to win this game. I knew it by the time the first quarter was over. I was like, okay, we're going to lose this game, but I need to keep watching. So that's what I did. I kept watching. And like I said, I'm going to watch it 2 or 3 more times at least before I really come out with what I think happened. But like I said, first observation, 75% Tua's fault. This one game. No, you're not that guy, Abel. You're not that guy. It's bad. It's bad. I don't want to be that guy. It's bad. It's a bad loss. But what we have to do is we have to watch for how they react, how they respond to this. There's a couple ways it can go, and we'll see which way it does go. The thing that I really hope that the Dolphins remember here, the team, not us, not fans, the team. They're still a team, and they still have 16 freaking games to go. They've got to respond to this. And the worst thing they could do right now is go into that locker room and buddy up into their little groups, split up or whatever, and start throwing the blame out everywhere else. And that's what I'm hoping the Dolphins don't do. This is where in the past the Dolphins would do something like that. The blame would start getting thrown around. There would be divisions, things like that. The Dolphins need to stick together. They need to stick together through this. They all need to own up to it. Number one, I have not watched the post-game press conferences, but I hope that Tua does do his conference, and I'm going to watch them as soon as I get out of here later on. And I hope that Tua takes full responsibility for this game, because that's what he needs to do. He needs to take 100% responsibility for it. Even if it wasn't all his fault, he needs to take responsibility for it, because he's 75% responsible, in my opinion. Play calling wasn't great. I did appreciate a few things about the play calling, but overall, I wasn't really happy with the play calling. I wouldn't say terrible, but it definitely wasn't what it should have been. Mainly, I feel like the problem in this game was execution. That's where I'm at, and that very well could change once I watch it a couple more times, Jorge. It wasn't great play calling for sure. Could have been a lot better, I think, but it's not something I'm really going to focus on too much as far as play calling until I watch the game a few more times, and then I kind of get a better idea. But right now, I would say it's more execution than play calling, but that's just me personally. And we all have our rights to our opinion after a game like this. And you're not going to see me telling people they're stupid for going on Twitter or YouTube and saying this team is horrible. We're not going to win anything. 0-17 game season coming on. I'm not going to pick on anybody for any of that. This is a bad game to have to evaluate your team off of, and right now that's all we have. So I understand. Personally, I'm not going to make that evaluation, but some do. Hopefully the Bills lose tonight and everyone will be 0-1. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for the whole AFC East to be 0-1 to start the season. That would help a bunch. What do you think Reek is thinking? I don't know if Reek is thinking roses, but I do think that he's trying to set an example. Like I said, I don't have any information there, so I can't say anything other than a personal thought. But I think he's going to try to set an example here, a good example. I think he's going to try to hold everybody together. I think that's what needs to happen. I think the leaders of the team, I'm not talking about captains, I'm talking about the leaders of the team. Even if you don't have a C on that jersey, there's plenty of players that are leaders of the team that don't have that C on their jersey. And they need to step up and hold the team together. That's what I was talking about earlier with they need to stick together through this. How are they going to respond? Find out. We will find out. This is the regular season now. We got a game every week. They've got to put this behind them and move on. They got to go to film on Monday, watch film, make their notes, and they've got to move on from it. But we'll see. Yeah, the use of timeouts in the first half. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to say it was all bad play calling and operation from the coach, but there was definitely some issues there. That would be one of them for sure. They need to change. We still have 16 games, absolutely, but they need to respond positively to it. They need to recognize that they effed up. They screwed up. They played horribly, and Tua needs to take full responsibility for this game. I'm not saying it's all his fault, but he needs to have that attitude. This is where a leader is a leader, and he says, this was on me. If Tua could have done more and would have done more, there would not have been our defense on the field for as long as they were on the field. The defense was on the field for 40 minutes of this game. Almost 40 minutes. That's 2/3 of the game, guys. You put any defense on the field for 2/3 of the game, and they're going to lose. It just can't be that way. Oh my goodness. You're killing me, Raph. You're killing me more than Tua's killing narratives. Not great. Not a great showing by the Miami Dolphins. It's just that simple. Thank you guys for coming in here, though. I appreciate you guys. It's nice to know that we got some hardcore fans in here. And before we go and we look at all the people who are going to be saying some crazy things on YouTube and X or wherever else, there's going to be some crazy things. And this is going to turn into massively blowing these things out of proportion. Before you witness that, and before you comment and say they're dumb or they're not smart, it's just, this is evaluation time, and this is after 1 week. We have some evaluation information now. Unfortunately, it's a bad evaluation. So let them do their evaluations. That's what I say. I say let them do their evaluations. I'm giving mine, and my evaluation is not pretty. This was a bad outing by the Dolphins, period. If other people are going to give that same evaluation and take a little liberty and expound that's their prerogative. What you have to do is form your own evaluation of the team so far. Do you think it's an outlier, or do you think this is what we're going to be seeing every week of the season? We could see this every week. I don't think we will, but if this continues, if we see the same outing for the next 3 weeks, by the end of week 4, if we're 0-4 and we have a season like this to put forth, if we have this kind of effort through 4 games, it's time to blow it up. But before that, I'm not gonna freak out prematurely. Me personally. If you appreciate that, stick around. I'm not gonna lose my mind over this. It was a bad game. There's not much good here in this game. This was a trouncing. Like you said earlier, we're at the bottom of the tank. Let's see how far they can rise. Or small roller coaster team, or same roller coaster team. Yes, same. Yeah, I saw that. Sorry. Yeah, right now we're at the bottom. This puts us at the bottom of the league. And I talked about it, with Raph, I think, earlier in the stream. I would put us at probably, since he convinced me, I'll put us at number 3 worst in the NFL. Evaluation of what we have so far. Number 3 worst. That would be 29th in the NFL. 30th in the NFL. It's not good, but it's only week 1. We have plenty of time. If the Dolphins give up on the season because of this week 1 game, that's a pretty weak mentality, a weak attitude to have. So once again, I'm not going to have an attitude that I don't want our team to have. If I don't want our team to give up after week 1, I'm not going to either. I'm going to hold out, and I'm going to wait for week 4 for my official evaluation of the team. I'm waiting. Of course, I'm going to have an evaluation of the game, and this game's evaluation was miserable. If I had to give them a grade in this game, it would be an F. F. Fail. They failed at almost every aspect of this game. Period. Let's take this week and see what happens ahead. Yep, that's where I'm at. Let's see what happens. Let's evaluate this game. Not for the season, but evaluate this game for what it is. It was a bad game. And let's see where it goes. I don't know. I personally wouldn't rate Tua, even with this game, I would not rate Tua the 28th QB in the NFL. However, if all I have to go off of is this week 1 performance, 28 sounds about right to me. 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, a fumble that was recovered by the other team, and 114 yards passing on 14 of 23, 55%. That sounds like about 28th worst QB in the NFL to me. So personally, for overall body of work, for the years he's been in the NFL and everything else, would I rank him 28th? No. But for this season so far, after week 1, you bet. 28th sounds great. That actually sounds a little bit generous. So everybody bookmark this video, clip me up, and if anybody ever comes at me and says I'm a Tua-neer, like it does happen sometimes, if anybody ever says that, show them this clip. Tua is playing like one of the worst QBs in the NFL so far this season after week 1. He had a horrible game, and because of his horrible game, he's about 75 to 80% responsible for this team losing this game. Look in my eyes. Not a Tua-neer. But I am not a Tua hater either. So that's where I'm at right now. Yep, I hate to say it too. I don't want to say that our quarterback is 80% responsible for this game loss. I don't want to say it, but it's true. So I'm going to speak the truth. That's where I'm at. After week 1, with what I have to evaluate the game with. Bummer. Throw those likes down, everybody. Make sure you help me out with the little algorithm. Help people to see this video and see my ugly face talking about this team and this ugly game we played. We have 16 more games to go, and I hope that this is an outlier. It might not be, but I hope it is. Whew, what a rough game. We have this afternoon. We have a fantastic game to watch: Buffalo and Baltimore. I think that's going to be a fun game to watch. Now we have in the AFC East 3 losses between 3 teams and 1 team left to play. They're playing the Ravens. I don't think Buffalo is going to walk out of there with a win, but it could happen. But I'm going to be rooting for Baltimore. I hope each and every one of you guys will as well. Unless you're a Buffalo fan, then I understand. But if you were cool, even if you're a Buffalo fan, if you were cool, you'd root for the Dolphins or for the Bills to lose. Just root for your team to lose once. I'd like to see all 4 teams in the AFC East with 1 loss already. I don't think it's going to happen. At least I don't think any Buffalo fans are going to root for a loss, but I do think Buffalo is going to lose that game. And you know what? You're Jorge. You're right. We should feel embarrassed as fans of the Dolphins right now. It was an embarrassing performance. I felt pretty embarrassed of it. I mentioned earlier that I leaned over to my wife and told her, "Hey, the Dolphins are losing 23-0 right now," and I giggled, and then she laughed, and she was like, "What? How?" And if you didn't watch any of the game and you heard that update in the 3rd quarter, 23-0, you would say, "How to? What is going on?" You'd want to know, and then you'd watch the game and you wouldn't want to know anymore. What a horrible game. But it's Sunday. It's a beautiful game, or beautiful day. Football's an awesome sport. There's a reason that there's 17 games played over 18 weeks for each team. It's so that there's an opportunity for a game like this to be an outlier, or for a team that wins 33-8 to be an outlier. Who knows? And like I said in the very beginning, the Colts could very well be a fantastic team. We just don't know. Today they played like champions. They played great. Congratulations to the Indianapolis Colts. I only know of 2, but to the 2 Colts fans that ended up subscribing to my channel over this weekend, your team played well, and they won this game deservedly. So congratulations to you guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic season. Nobody on the Colts team that I dislike. It was a great game by them. Congratulations. Dolphins played like trash. You guys played well, more importantly. Daniel Jones gave you a good game. No way around that. He outperformed our quarterback for sure. I told my wife the same. My wife replied, "The same old Dolphins." No joke. Yeah. It's 1 week. Everybody just, grab a hold of those britches, pull them up, give them a jiggle, make sure they're around your waist. Don't bend over to take it up the tailpipe from nobody. Just relax. Week 1 over for the Miami Dolphins. They have lost 33-8. How do we respond? As a fan, I'm going to remain optimistic and hopeful. However, I'm going to evaluate what I have to evaluate. And to be optimistic and hopeful doesn't mean that I'm going to ignore what I saw. I saw instances of bad coverage. I saw instances of good coverage. I saw a Colts offensive line that was amazing. Fantastic offensive line. Play very well. I saw pressure from our defensive line. However, with that comes the caveat that Daniel Jones did a fantastic job sliding away and moving and looking to readjust and throw the ball where he could. Daniel Jones played this game well. And because of that, he managed to mitigate any pass rush that the Dolphins seemed to get by the offensive line. They did get past the offensive line on multiple occasions, but Daniel Jones managed to slip out of the grasp of our defensive line. It's just what it is, guys. I'm not down on our defensive front 7. I felt like our middle linebackers played incredible football today. That is the one spot on defense that I felt like played great. Our middle linebackers played well, and they had to. Now the more I look at Tyler Warren's stats, 70-something yards in no touchdowns. You can't look at that and say that's too much. Tyler Warren is a fantastic tight end. He plays very well, and he showed that today. In the beginning of this week, I said you cannot contain you cannot stop Tyler Warren. All you can do is hope to contain him. I feel like for the most part, we did a pretty good job covering Tyler Warren. He is a different kind of player. It was pretty cool seeing him get thrown in there at fullback a couple times too. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was pretty impressive from him, picking up a first down on a 3rd and short as well. So that's what I saw. I saw a couple other things. I saw some bad safety play from the Dolphins. I saw more questionable safety play than I did cornerback play. I feel like the corners did a good job for a lot of this game. There was a couple biffs here and there. I'm going to look into the injuries here, and we'll see how that ended up being. But could have been a lot worse. Score-wise, it sucked. Colts have won their first week 1 game in, I think, 13, 14 years. Congratulations to you guys. I mean, that's what it is. James Daniels is the one that frustrates the crap out of me. He left with a pec muscle injury. Pec muscles being torn, if it's a tear, that's horrible. He's probably going to be out for a long time. Storm Duck got taken off the field late in the first half with an ankle injury. I think it was his left ankle. They were both ruled out for the rest of the game. We'll see what ends up happening there. Probably not going to have an update until tomorrow or Tuesday. Hopefully it's just a strain pec for James Daniels, and hopefully it's just a twisted ankle or something like that for Storm Duck. Hopefully he doesn't miss much time. We're going to need Storm Duck. Going to need him. So hopefully they get him back. He did not play bad at all the times that he was in the game. And like I said, that one touchdown, people are so quick to throw that blame on Storm Duck. But if you watch that play, that was on Iffy and the safeties, mainly on Iffy, drifting into a bubble of another safety instead of drifting towards the streaking receiver down the sideline. It was very clear that Iffy had the over coverage on that, and he dropped it. And because he dropped it, Storm Duck was caught with his pants down 5 yards in front of, or 5 yards behind, I guess, the receiver, and that's what happens. Not putting the blame on Storm Duck on that one. That was definitely on Iffy. Need to see better play. Better all-around team play. And better quarterback play mainly. That's where we're at. Devon Achane did average almost 8 yards per carry. So it was a good game for Devon Achane. 7 carries, 55 yards, 7.9 average, a longest of 26. So a good game from him. You got to give the props to the Colts. They played well. Miami did not. We have 16 more games. Next week we play the Patriots, another 0-1 team. And this is a divisional matchup. These next 3 games become massively important. I don't care if we're playing the Bills week 3. I don't care if we're playing the Jets week 4. I don't care who it is. Weeks 2, 3, and 4 become very, very important for Miami. They're divisional games. The majority of the AFC East took losses so far in this week 1. They have to win those games. Though they're not going to beat the Bills, well, they have to. They need to. I know it's in Buffalo, but they're not going to win in Buffalo. Last year they lost that Buffalo game by a field goal, 61 yards. That's it. They have the ability. Can they do it? I don't know. Evaluating off of week 1, I would say no, but they need to win those 3 games. If they would have beaten the Colts, I would have said that the Bills game becomes a toss-up where they don't really have to win that game and nobody expects them to anyway. But they need to win these next 3 games now. They lost to the Colts. That was a game they should have won. So looking at the season and looking what's coming up immediately, weeks 2, 3, and 4, Patriots, Bills, Jets, they have to win those games. Have to. And those teams are going to be hungry. The Patriots, the Jets barely lost. They're going to have to win those games. And those teams are going to be hungry for a win as well. So Tyreek, he went into the tent, got evaluated, but from what I saw, he came back out. He was not, he was cleared. But like I said, that's only what I saw. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened. We'll see what happens here with the injury report on Monday. But for right now, from what I saw, he came back out and was cleared to go back in. Just, that's what I'm seeing so far. Everybody relax. It's over. Let's begin recovering. The Dolphins are going to go into practice on Monday. They're going to watch tape, watch film. They're going to discuss this with each other. They're going to figure out who did what, when, and where. And hopefully they can stick together through it and they can move on from it. That's how you get better. That's what makes a team a team. We'll see. Bet you didn't see that coming, huh? I didn't. I did not see that coming. I did not. If somebody would have told me we're going to lose 33-8 in week 1, I would have said you're nuts. But it is what it is. We lost. I'm going to have more information on this game, and we're going to talk about the Patriots game as we move into next week. But for the rest of today, I'm going to watch some football. I'm going to relax, hang out with the family, eat some food. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten yet today, and it is almost 2 o'clock. Yikes. I know I'm fat and old, but I still need food. Thanks for watching, guys. If you do feel like throwing down a like and subscribing if you're new, thank you so much for doing that. It helps other people see the show and the channel. I appreciate you guys for doing that always. If you feel like donating, the Cash App is down there on the bottom. Money, $ Frozen Fin Fan, all one word, and you guys can do that there. All that money goes straight to the channel for paying for StreamYard and equipment and things like that. I appreciate that. If you do, don't feel like you have to. As far as my schedule, I think Tuesday I'm going to be going live, and that'll be a call-in show, open mic. So if you want to come in and you want to voice your opinions and your thoughts and your evaluations so far, that'll be the time to do that. Monday I'll probably go live. Also, more of a let's talk about things, discussing the injury report and stuff like that. So I appreciate you guys for coming in here. Try to go enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Don't get all been out of shape and worked up over this. It's just football. Until I talk to you guys next time, fins up. Stay hopeful if you can. I mean, it's going to be hard. But if we want our team to, then we need to as fans as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you. Fins up. We'll talk to you later.